These are the perspective cases from Benks, or as I like to call them, the scientist cases. As a scientist myself, I just had to try them out, so I asked Benks to send them over and they did. However, this is not a sponsored review and everything I say is my honest opinion. Benks is a company that takes both positive and negative feedback equally well. Benks is doing some great things recently, growing from a Me Too brand on Amazon to actually going to great lengths to building better and better products, taking the feedback of their users into account. They're taking risks and coming up with cases that appeal to niche segments. One of those segments is scientists, so people like me and quite a lot of people I know. So even though these cases are called perspective cases for good reason, I'm going to call them the scientist cases. The black one has tons of design elements and actually says physics on it. That's something that appeals to me specifically because I am a physicist. These designs remind me of the Nothing phones, but of course with way more design elements and stuff going on. So the cases come in slightly revised boxes, which look a little cleaner than the old ones. The boxes are covered in details about the case, including a sticker telling you the product line, which in this case is called Collab Illustration. Opening the box is straightforward, just a little tab at the bottom securing the plastic cover. First impressions are good. These cases are actually quite stunning. Overall, they are matte white and matte black, but have tons of decoration on different layers. This gives a sense of 3D design, which changes as you move the case, hence the name Perspective. And it's quite obvious. People I've shown this case to have noticed it and asked me about it before I even mentioned it. Benks have done something good here to create this amount of perspective without creating a case that was too thick. So let's start talking about what these cases have in common. Starting with build quality. The build quality leaves nothing for me to complain about. The main body of the case is made from a soft translucent plastic with the decorative elements sandwiched in layers on the back along with the MagSafe rings. The white case has kind of a white translucent plastic and the black case has kind of a grey translucent plastic. The whole case is quite rigid and resistant to any kind of twisting or bending, so it has some strength by itself. Looking at the inside again, there's no microfiber lining, but as I say these days, I'm not so worried about this because the iPhone is made of glass and titanium and it's quite resistant to scratching. It's not like back in the days when the phone was made of aluminium or even plastic. The camera ring is made of plastic and has rounded corners, so the material isn't as premium as some of the other cases that Benks has, but I guess plastic will keep the weight down. It has a different plastic ring than that on the Aurora case that I recently reviewed, just slightly different. Looking at bump protection, the inside of the bumper has a bunch of cuts and grooves, which are supposed to help with impact protection, and under the four corners are what people call airbags, integrated for the same reason. Despite all of this, Benks have found a way to actually make the case feel thinner than similar cases in the lineup, such as the Pop Stand case, which I recently reviewed as well. I'll have a link to that down below. This is really important for me because I dislike when cases make the phone substantially bulkier. Now the fit is excellent and the sides stick to the phone rigidly and do not come away easily. I know a lot of people do this test when they're talking about cases. The ports and speaker cutouts. Now by now I don't expect anything less than perfect port and speaker cutouts from Benks, and there's no surprise here in this case. The USB port cutout is nice and big, so pretty much any USB cable is going to fit into here with no problems. Looking at the front glass protection, there's quite a bit of front glass protection, which I measured at 0.78 millimeters, and that is quite a lot. Now here is an idea of what a 0.78 millimeter gap looks like. It's a space there you can see between the gap, between the screen, and the ruler. The MagSafe magnets are very strong in this case, and I can easily pick up my Anker 3-in-1 charger with it. I don't really like MagSafe magnets being so strong because it means that you either need two hands to pick it up off the charger or you need to use some kind of ninja sword fighting wrist skills. Having said that, if you're mounting this in your car or something, then of course you want the strongest magnets possible to stop it falling off. The case has a soft silicone-ish feel, but it has a matte finish, so therefore the grip is really good. The buttons on these cases require special mention because they're actually really good. Although they are made of plastic instead of metal as they are on the more premium cases, they use a floating button technique, which means there's no resistance at all from the case material. All of the force from your fingers is transmitted completely onto the original buttons of the phone. This arrangement is the best for case buttons because it results in the buttons feeling just like the original buttons on your phone. I have to commend Benks for including this style of button on a case at this price because obviously having to mold the buttons out of plastic adds cost to making a case. This one decision instantly makes this case a lot better to use. I think the worst thing you can do on a case is make squishy, soft buttons that just ruin the whole experience of a good phone. Now I know you guys want to know, does it smudge? The surface on this case isn't porous at all, despite a matte finish. So if you were to get any face grease on it, it'll just wipe right off. Now, I've left the most important part of this review for last, and that is a discussion of the looks. Looks will always be subjective, but this is the first case design I have seen that celebrates science. Not only do the cases look extremely techy, but the black one actually says physics, and the white one says capacitance and capacitor. This case is going to appeal to anyone from the sciences, but particularly those in physics and engineering. So if you're going to university or college and you're doing some kind of science or engineering and you wanted to express your personality, I think either of these cases would do that for you really well. Just look at how it nearly gets lost in my nest of electrical wires and components. Aside from the nerdy references, the silver accents change depending on the angle and the light intensity. In fact, they glow quite brightly in direct sunlight. On the black one, the silver reflective material makes up the MagSafe ring, and on the white one, the metallic parts form an interesting mesh at the bottom and a strip up the side looking very heat sink-ish. Although both cases are awesome, I slightly prefer the white one as the black highlights on the buttons really stand out, and the camera protector and the space black iPhone itself looks stunning through the camera protector. So these are really nice cases from Benks with nothing to really complain about build quality wise. They have all the things you would want from a case, that is protection, good buttons and good materials. And they wrap it all up in a nice techie design that anyone watching this channel would definitely appreciate. I'm going to use this to go to any event or gathering where I want people to know that I'm a scientist and proud of it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, give me a like and a subscribe. And that way you'll get notified when I post a new video. I've got one more Benks case to do, and I think you might want to see that one as well. Remember, this video is not sponsored, even though Benks sent these to me after I requested them. But if you want to pick it up, just use the link below. I don't get any commission from it, but I do recommend these cases, and that's why I've put the link. Lastly, check out vinesography.com. That's a site where I have a couple of pictures for sale. You can get it on like mugs, mouse pads, yoga mats, anything you want. So until next time, see ya.